Welcome back to Division 2. We're about to jump into UniQ versus Munster Rugby Gaming. The second team so far scored on our standings versus the fifth one. A new roster, a new composition, but they're still showing signs of quality for this roster of Munster Rugby Gaming. So I still believe they have a lot to showcase, and the ceiling, the skill ceiling, is still nowhere to be found. They can evolve as they go. So UniQ have to be careful if they want to
Yeah,
face this team.
yeah, and I mean, UniQ has been looking super promising, right, throughout the split as well. They're sitting steadily there at 5-2, and obviously Munster Rugby had some issues early into the split, and now they're sitting on 4-3. So I mean, once again, I talked about this in the first game too. Like I mean, before in the pre-show, rather, that the last game of the day, London United is going to be important for the standings, but this one as well, 4-3,
Mm-hmm.
5-2. If Munster Rugby can come up with a W in this one, they can kind of catch up to UniQ and Natives, and this is looking to be a really stacked like when we go into the middle of the split, right? And we're gonna go into the draft instantly. That's nice to see, really fast.
And look at this, 5-2 to 4-3. We talked about this. These two teams are close to each other. So if Munster Rugby Gaming wins this one, they're going to become 5-3, which leads UniQ to 5-3 as well. So they tie up. We're looking to second place versus fifth one, and out of a sudden we can see that fifth one jump in to the standings really high and get away from that fifth one. So be aware that this game means a lot. Lulu and Yumi, so far we have enchanters being removed from the game. I cannot
Board is
be
broken.
mad with that sort of bans, especially the Yumi one. On the other side is also Pike, an aggressive one. It's totally focused on the bot side so far, alongside with the Zed.
Yeah, so I mean, both lanes being broken as it is, right? That's kind of what I learned throughout this last couple of weeks. We see the leasing coming out as a ban, and while we haven't seen that much leasing in the last upcoming weeks, I mean, Kakal, this guy has been not a one trick, but this guy plays Lissin and Graves and like Kha'Zix, these three champions he plays in Italy as well. He loves these type of champions where he can make a lot of plays happen. So I'm not surprised to see that one going out. Just kind of looking at the players as well. Fun fact, I actually used to play against Revelius when I lived in Turkey and played there. This guy is a Turkish AD carry, and all I remember is that he would always play with the resources. He would always want to carry his team, and he would do so successfully at a lot of times. So I wouldn't be surprised if Munster Rugby decides to do something similar. Go for that bot lane prio with Revelius, and may allow him to play aggressive. Speaking of aggression, though, UniQ locked in that juicy Volibear first pick.
This is one of those picks that everybody has talked about. You can dive with the Volibear at level 3. You can execute something. You can get that sort of aggression, even with the buffs on the turret. This is one of the only junglers that allows you to do that. Even Trundle can support that sort of a gameplay. But aside from Volibear, it's really hard to get that flow going on. So on the other side, Monster Rugby Gaming, you have to think wisely about what they want to bring. They're going to pick in the Ezreal, more safety as well. And this allows you to bring some sort of support that allows you to roam through the map and try to help other teams, other members. If we've seen Harbu carry multiple times, so I think Revelius is going to be comfortable. And even so, on the previous game, we saw Ezreal just destroying with that sort of lead. But I guess they're going to fall back into the Viego we've seen before them talked about as well.
Yeah, this just seems like the classic one to combo that you do on Red Zone nowadays. You just pick Ezreal, the super safe AD carry, and you pick the Viego as well, who is so versatile, right? Can do a lot of things, but if he gets that reset going, he's gonna be super monster in the fights. And you talked about Arshram that you kind of didn't agree with everyone saying that the durability patch is like, oh, you can't dive towers, blah blah. And I just have to say I completely agree with your point. I think if you're good enough, you can still make this kind of plays happen. And this obviously is what the UniQ wants to go for, right? With the Volibear, they want to be proactive early. And speaking of proactivity as well, is picking up that Jinx into the Ezreal. They're gonna have a field day in the bot lane, being able to get that prio consistently, and maybe that's where Shafty decides to go for. He has that bot prio for sure this game, and that just spells that UniQ can do something proactive. We see the Thresh though, that's a long time no see.
Long time no see, and I'm thankful that this is appearing in the game, especially because it's versus Ezreal, one of those that, okay, Arcane Shift. Well, you may Arcane Shift, but I'll follow you into the netherworld if I have to. So be aware of that one. Also, a lot of protection coming in for the Jinx. You have the Lantern. You can just put up the box and nobody will go through unless it's Viego jumping in from the other realm as well with the Heartbreak. They follow it up with Nautilus, so we have bot lanes alongside with the junglers, which means the top lane and the mid lane is going to take a huge dent right now in terms of champion pool. I do believe Munster Rugby Gaming will try to focus on Eden, which is one of the most powerfuls. We've seen the Yone, that's why he has been banned. He's a playmaker, so you need to be aware of that and you need to take him out. And there you go, Akali is going to join that sort of pool.
Yeah, I mean, Eden just really loves these types of assassins, right? The Yone, the Yasuo, the Akali. He even plays some mean Kassadin, from what I remember. I would be surprised if we saw it today, though, on this blue side. But I'm just looking at Munster Rugby's comp right now, and sure, you have a lot of scaling in the terms of Ezreal and, I mean, Viego as well. He scales super well as well, right? Not according to Bambi, though. He says that this champion sucks in the late game, but I don't think I agree with him. I think no matter what, if you get a reset, you're just going to be popping off in these team fights. But speaking of this is that Munster Rugby, they kind of right now have not a winning lane. They don't have a winning jungle matchup as well, and they really need to get some kind of winning lanes going for them to make sure that Viego is not gonna be kind of starved on his jungle clear, and also not allowing UniQ to kind of play the map however they want.
They're going to remove those playmakers, so 3 bans straight up into Eden. It's going to be Delia, Akali alongside with Yone. They're trying to limit his champion pool, and I do believe they're doing a good job. But the problem is, Eden plays more than that. He plays a lot of assassins, but he also can use those control mages. I don't think it's his style, but regardless of that, I do know that he's capable of piloting them. As the last one is going to be Gwen, following it up with the Nan on the top side. So late game capability for Munster Rugby Gaming is off the charts as they protect the mid lane and Harbu to try and get that counter pick. And there we go. If you don't allow me to go for the assassins, I can go for that control mage. I can go for the team fight potential, as it seems that Eden is going to pick that one, Oriana, unless this is one of those hovers. But there you go. We finally get to see him on another sort of champion. I don't think that one is still up.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is a bait pick. Obviously, this is also a bait pick. I would be really surprised if we saw this lock in. I kind of really liked what Munster Rugby Gaming did, though. They banned the Aurelia last pick so they could like kind of blind pick the Gnar. And while Neos has the counter pick, I mean, UniQ already drafted like such a huge teamfight comp. Why would you just not go for that OP pick in the Ornn and be able to give your teammates the items as well, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you can already tell what UniQ wants to do this game. They want to use team fight, and I don't think there's any pick in the world that Munster Rugby can pick that to make sure that they're gonna be able to win those team fights. I think they have to go for some sort of 1-3-1 comp with maybe the Sylas.
But thinking about it, this could be the second return of Sylas, and there you go. Arabo is going to take this one for himself. We've seen this in the previous game, and it makes sense on this one. You have the shockwave. You can deliver it yourself because you have to. So that's an easy one for Sylas. The ultimate from the volleyball as well. That is a good one. Allows you to get the dive in, allows you to disable turrets. Ornn is a really good counter engage, or even primary engage for Sylas. So I'm looking into these ultimates, especially the Thresh. In the middle of the team fight, you are almost rooted inside of a box. So if you limit the movement speed of a Jinx, it's almost like she can't move. I think Sylas here for Harbu is a really good pick.
Yeah, no, I really like this. I think it's good to Munster Rugby to kind of identify as well that it's gonna be super hard to win the game through team fights if you're just playing front to back and you're kind of even in the game. So just picking up that Sylas gonna be really strong in the mid to late game, and I really hope that Munster Rugby can kind of snowball him, because if he's on a side lane, he's against that Ornn or against that Orianna, and he has that Viego backing him up, and he's ahead. It's gonna be super hard for UniQ to play the game, because all they want to do is just play the game slow, resident sleeper, blah blah. The stacking Drake, blah blah blah, sleeping through it, and if they're not able to do that because of Munster Rugby's gaming ability to play the side lanes, this can be a really good game.
This could be a really powerful as well for the standings, as both teams are one game away from each other. UniQ obviously needs to win this one to get themselves closer to the first place, as we've seen in the previous game, and also to get some distance and finally get isolation on their second place, because so far they're tied up with Natives in second, and Natives are going to be playing as the last game of today versus Domino. So if UniQ wants to be the only second place, they have to win today. On the other side, though, Munster Rugby Gaming, a team that we saw winning the regular split of Spring Split completely uncontested, but at the end of the entire playoffs, they lost, so they couldn't get themselves the first place on the Spring Split on playoff zone. I mean, they changed the entire team, I would say. They're still going
Yeah.
through those changes. They're still adapting to that. So it means a lot if they can get this one for themselves.
Yeah, I think so too, right? And I mean, I talked about this a lot, where you kind of get a new honeymoon phase in the team, where you kind of replace one player. You kind of everyone is kind of really motivated again to play and like get to know each other. And maybe this is what Munster Rugby is going for as well, right? You're saying that they're still like kind of under development, but right now looking at the roster, I really like what I'm seeing. I see Kakal. This guy is really good at playing for himself and like getting those resources, getting the to carry the game. And on the Viego, this is for sure something you can do. Also Rebellious, I know that it's kind of the wish version of the Attila rule, the 25-minute rule, the 2-item rule. But I mean, hey man, I've seen this guy play in Turkey. I mean, this guy has been popping off completely on the Azula time, so wouldn't be surprised if he does the same this game.
Okay, yes, he's going to start with a different itemization, gaining the long sword instead of what we've seen in the previous game with the Tear of God. This gives him more safety, gives him more power as well, more trade power to the bot side alongside those 3 pots. That's going to keep him healthy. But if there's a really good engage with that ignite from Rotten Bengi, that should be enough for the Jinx to get the first blood. And
Yeah.
obviously, Shafty is going to probably come to the top side, get the blue buff, go towards the bot side of the map, and maybe try to set up a level 3 gank versus the Ezreal. Because even though you have the Arcane Shift, I mean, you're not that tanky.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine that the junglers are gonna have the opposite sides, right? We see right now as well. Unless you don't have prio, but I like what Rebel is doing, starting the longsword, because this lane, Nautilus Ezreal, is not as weak as people think. Sure, Jinx and Thresh, they're gonna have the prio quite consistently, but if Nautilus can find some sort of hooks and you get that kind of trade uncontested, you know, the Jinx only has 1 potion with the Doran's Blade, right? So they could look to punish in that regard, but as I'm saying that, Shafty is gonna path to that bot side, as you mentioned. Let's see if UniQ can actually make something proactive happen in the early game with his Polymer pick.
This is the punishing lane, and you picked Yorn into the Nash, so you know what you bought yourself into.
Yeah, this is looking rough so far for News. I see that actually he has only the refillable pot as well, so I think he's waiting for... Wait, he can't buy Corrupting Potion with this. I guess he's waiting for the Doran's Shield to buy when he gets those couple of creeps. But right now, obviously looking super rough for him. Skewer has a field day so far in this lane, but I mean, it's gonna be Ornn, it's gonna be News, he's just gonna be super scaling up, as goes for everyone on the side of UniQ. So even though you have this Volibear pick, as I said, they kind of want to play proactive with this pick, but looking at the champions, Jinx, Orianna, Ornn, they are not scared to just take it really, really slow this one.
Not only that, he decides to go straight up for the Ruby Crystal that heals him a little bit. It's not the old Ornn experience, but now that the Bami Cinder is a little bit cheaper, 100 gold, we had a segment straight up about that as well. I don't know if you recall.
I recall.
But it allows him to get that wave cleared as well on the top side.
Yeah, no, that's actually really smart adaptation from News as well, and I think this is kind of what League is all about. The patches are coming in quite consistently. Just comparing it to Dota, where they're like patching, I think once every 3 or 4 months, something like this. It's like a lot less consistently patched in this game. But so in League, you really have to be good at adapting, and you see Neos actually doing this buying that Ruby Crystal because the Bomb Cinder is so much cheaper. So it's really like kind of a 5-and play for me. I respect that.
In the mid lane, it's Eden taking the advantage, even though, again, it was Harbo picking up versus the Orianna. And we talked about this before. Even though you can get a counter pick, maybe you are forced to pick something that is better for the team and not for yourself. Shakal gets spotted on that ward, is going to sweep it away already with the sweeper on his inventory. This also means that at least allows Eden to freeze up a little bit of the lane. You still have those 3 ranged minions, so this could be a really good spot. The turret doesn't attack that little minion, so I believe the freeze has been broken. This is why he's instantly recalling.
Yeah, I mean, good attempt there from Eden trying to get that freeze going. I think it's just gonna be the same result regardless. Both minions are gonna TP back, and yeah, I mean, I just imagine now that Harbo is still gonna be able to struggle in this lane quite a bit. The Orianna obviously is the control mage, can't really kill you in lane, but has a lot of poke, and he goes for that tier wheel as well. I mean, you know this is gonna be a 40-minute game for UniQ, man.
I don't think so, but if it happens, I'll give you a cookie when you come back to NLC, okay?
Nice. I want a cookie. That's nice. I respect it.
It's a deal. I'll try to behave and give you a cookie. You just have me tell me what sort of cookies then you like.
Yeah.
Arbu at level 5 wants to get some sort of engage. And talking about engage, we have one on the bot side. Urvelius is trying to chase. Instantly flash from Rotten Bangi, but burns away the ignite from Dukai. I would say it's a really good trade in favor of Munster Rugby Gaming.
Yeah, I think he's getting that Thresh Flash, right, as you mentioned. Then it means that Shakal can kind of revisit that bot side. Dukai still has the flash on that Nautilus. If they can just hit one hook on the Thresh, that's kind of all you care for, right? You get that one kill onto Shakal and he can kind of snowball the game. You kind of don't want to go on the Jinx regardless, even though if he has flash or not, because he's going to get the Lantern out. And yeah, I just hope they can kind of revisit this lane now. Speaking of this though, Munster Rugby have kind of some pressure now with this visit from Kakal. The bot lane is pushing towards them, but now I see Shafty actually being ready to kind of go for some sort of gank with his wave being bad for Munster Rugby Gaming.
I think they want Dukai. Except Flash not being used, trying to go for the Ezreal. Gets the slow and gets the prediction, but they landed on Dukai. Flashes away and hooks himself against the turret. So they're going to burn double Flash for nothing, by the way. Only the
Yeah, that is just really good punishment from UniQ. I mean, they saw that the bot wave was really bad for Munster Rugby Gaming, and they instantly go for it. They're not scared. They have the Volibear pick. They force both summoners, and now I'm kind of interested to see Shaft actually starting up the Drake, but he's gonna get collapsed on here.
We're going to collapse on top of him. Shafty's getting way too low. His smite is not available, which means he's not able to sustain himself. As Shakal is going to steal away his own soul to do the dragon. Holmberg alongside with Rottenberg way too low. That's a perfect hook from Nautilus. Allowing the other kill for Munster Rugby Gaming with a perfect start. Gets the dragon and double kill onto the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, really impressive once again. I mean, I was speaking about how UniQ is really good at punishing this place when they saw that the wave was in a poor spot for Munster Rugby Gaming. But then Shafty goes into the river. He is alone. He doesn't really have the bot player that he wanted. And Munster Rugby just instantly collapse on that. And ooh, there's actually a flash as well going on the top side. I mean, so much early action here coming from Munster Rugby Gaming, who I thought they were just, just gonna take it kind of slow. But then looking at UniQ's comp again, you don't want to take it slow against Orianna, Jinx, and Ornn. And I'm really impressed to see that they're actually making proactive plays happen.
And they also have an amazing late game. If you get Ezreal with 2 items, things are going to be really completely different and also really difficult to deal. So Munster Rugby Gaming putting themselves in a good staircase. Let's see if they're capable of climbing it all the way up, as UniQ are still farming. You told us about those 40-minute games, so we might be able to get access to one of these unless Munster Rugby Gaming are able to close out. And one of the highest strengths to me in UniQ is the capability of not only securing that lead in the early game, that's why they are in second place, but the resilience that even if your enemy has that sort of lead,
That was close.
Those pants felt the hook. They didn't connect, but the pants may be ripped on the side as Thresh tries to go for the kill.
Yeah, I think Aurelius hard for sure skipped a beat there. Same for Eden. Manages to dodge out on Harbo's E there, which is really impressive. Oh, another one! I mean, Aurelius, this guy, man, he's Eing in when he knows he's 1v2. That is really alpha gameplay.
Confidence.
Yeah, it's confidence in its essence. Like, this is just what I love to see about AD carries. When they are so confident, and while this was probably not a good play in this case because he's gonna be forced to back out from the tower because of it. I still respect it. I love to see confidence in League. It kind of shines for a player, especially on AD carries. You can really see when they're playing with confidence, and I just love to see it, man.
160 gold coming in hot for Holmberg, which is going to allow him to farm one additional wave. 80 minions at 8 minutes in. By the way, M-Test, this means that he will be able to get a lot of items. He's going to try and recall, I believe. I don't know how much gold the Jinx has. I mean, she has the quiver already, so she doesn't have a lot of gold to begin with. She does have 1300 out of a sudden. Take a look at that beauty. The Ignite comes in, but that's only from the book as Skewered is trying to run away. As the force of the old god is just running amok. The horn is now running away, but Skewered is going to lock him against the wall, and he punishes Neus on the last possible second, wasting the flash, but getting himself a kill.
UniQ, they drafted 3 scaling lanes, and while they have some priority, I mean, Skewer is, as his 30 CS up, has the solo ball as well. They're gonna probably pop the Herald here as well, and this is just gonna allow them to snowball this game almost out of control, man. I mean, I love to see it from Munster Rugby Gaming. This is just a skewer kind of popping off, right? I mean, he knows that Neos didn't have flash from that earlier exchange. This is gonna open the map so wide for UniQ. And you speaking of the farm, right? You said that Jinx and Oriana, they're still like kind of chilling. They have 90 CS pretty much 10 minutes into the game. And while that's all good, they have the kind of goal that they want on their carries. Volibear is 50 CS down. Nor is almost 40 CS up on this. I mean, on this topic. And you have to remember that Nijus, you mentioned that he was the one that counterpicked in this matchup, and he was getting completely dumpster, man.
He was, but as soon as the Ornn came online, you know what you're getting into. As soon as you see at least 1 or 2 items, Eden is comfortable.
Yeah.
He knows Rottenbergy is on the mid line, so nothing is going to happen as both AD carries are going to be left alone, just farming it up. There's not a big, well, there's some sort of lead. I was lying. 3,800 to 3,300 for Ezreal alone. That is a lot. And even on the top side, look at that.
I mean, Nor is 1.5k ahead, though. Almost 2k actually. What is this? This is gonna kind of force Neos to just freeze this wave, right? And I mean, this kind of just allows Skewer as well to group up with his team. And while this freeze can be good for the side of UniQ, if Munster Rugby Game can keep play proactive as they have been in this early game, it's gonna be so hard for UniQ to play 4v5. Eden's just gonna get caught,
Hardball makes a beautiful play as Eden is alone. The heartbreaker is that Shakal is going to take them out. 0-4, and they're shining. The Monsters are back. We talked to you about this. This was a team that was still trying to get together, still trying to learn a new identity. But I think they got the card. I think they know who they are right now. They're still the organization who won in the regular split of Spring Split.
Yeah, they're just showing up super good in this day. Like, they're 3k ahead now, and this kind of what's so good about this as well. Obviously, Neos, he's kind of forced to freeze that wave, and while that is good, could be good for him, it's super bad for the side of UniQ on the other side of the map, because Skewer, he's gonna be able to make a play with his team, and that kind of forces Neos as well to push that top lane out. And now they're gonna swap lanes out. Horrible is gonna pick up most of this wave, so like no real loss coming in from the side of Munster Rugby Gaming. And they have 2 Drakes now as well. And Skewer, this guy's not done, man. He's super strong with his Triforce.
Triforce already built in, as the Ornn is still trying to figure out what sort of mythic is going to build. I believe it's going to be the Frostfire, but until then, we still have a long way to go. There you go. He's just did it. Just to shut me up. Beautiful. But it's a little bit cheaper than a Triforce, and I believe Zanar still has a little bit of gold on his pockets. He also didn't need to buy boots, and Nar did, and he has access to those boots. So that's a big lead for the Nar versus the Ornn still. But if you look into the game, the late game M-Test, we were talking about this, and we were talking about those items from the Ornn, as Eden is just going to the higher ups, looks into the sky like, yeah, this is a good view. Thank you, Dukai.
Yeah, I mean, Rottenbergy has been covering him quite well in this game, making sure that he can push out the waves that he likes. And just speaking about what you said as well, obviously this Ornn is gonna be behind, but actually sometimes losing your tower this early can be a good thing, because Skewer is not really allowed to pressure the Ornn that hard under their tier 2, because then he can just get collapsed on, right? And as I say that, horrible. Okay, I'm fine. I can keep talk about my point. Ornn, obviously after that 2 free items, when he's allowed to like create items for his team as well, that's really where UniQ is gonna come online. And I'm just kind of wondering right now if this lead that Munster Rugby Gaming has, it's really good, but is it gonna be enough on the side of them to be able to close this one out?
A game that they need to close, but they still need a lot longer to get themselves in that position. 13 minutes in, the Dragon is going to respawn in 3 minutes. It's going to be an Ocean Drake for the team that wants to have prolonged fights. This would be a perfect item as well. Not being able to kill a Nard as he's gaining his rage, it would be a menacing vision, I would say, as Eden walks into the top lane, instantly gets thrown against the wall. That's way too much damage. One stone away. He jukes it. No flash available. Skewer trying to get himself. The flash is available in 1 second. Will he do it? Will he do it? He is not gonna do it.
Oh my god, that was so close. I mean, Eden dodging out just perfectly on that last Q from the Meganar, but I mean, this is now what we kind of see. Skewer has that kind of backup now from the Viego on the top side. He's allowed to play like this, and it's just super rough. The UniQ has to kind of cover them on all sort of places. They're kind of forced to just bring the Orianna there as well, bring the Ornn there rather. And I mean, the Monster Rugby Gaming, they just have so much pressure just everywhere. It's only on bot that they're kind of losing out, which is expected when you're playing against an Ezreal. Obviously, you're gonna have priority on that lane. But Monster Rugby Gaming, they are not slowing down. And I mean, if they can keep this up and get that third rig as well, I don't see how UniQ can buy enough time to be able to skate to this one.
15 minutes in, so this could be half of the game if we get the usual timer for the durability patch. We've seen games even faster than they usually were, even though people complain about the early game. But in solo queue, it's a little bit better, so don't be like that, as Nilius is going to try and use his sitting charge to run away, as Skewer now looks into the horn. The problem is, there's no follow-up, and Skewer is going to be thankful that happened. Meanwhile, Herald is in the pockets of Shakal at 15 minutes in, 1 minute towards the Dragon, so he can just drop it in the mid lane when he has some sort of assistance and use the Heralds as another bargaining chip to go for the Dragon.
Yeah, they're just gonna drop it preemptively, and there's still 1 minute on the Drake. Harbo gonna get collapsed by Shafty actually.
There's not enough sustain to hold with the bear, but meanwhile on your backline you see your member just getting knocked out. It's Eden to the rescue, but Shakal takes the support. The death sentence is available. Shaft is in trouble as he's going to collapse as well, and maybe another soul as a double kill comes in clean for Shakal. Skewer is going to try and provide that triple. There you go, is Skewer not providing but taking it away as he's looking for more. He's like, nah, I want the triple for myself. But I believe this is a fight between the jungler and the top laner, as Dragon is going to respawn in 30 seconds, and they might have enough time to recall, bike, and back and control the lane.
And this is the disadvantage, right, of having that teamfight comp is you're not online yet. You don't have the 2 items that you're looking for on your carries, the Orianna, the Jinx. And while Monster Rugby Gaming have been so proactive in early game, of course now when they're this far ahead, they can take any 5v5 that they like. And now the Drake is gonna spawn in 10 seconds as well. Both teams kind of coming out of base on the same timer. I'll be really surprised if UniQ decides to fight this, considering they don't have the Ornn ultimate, they don't have the Volibear one, and this is kind of just... It's kind of a disaster for UniQ, honestly, because now Monster Rugby Gaming, they're gonna get a third Drake, gonna get to that soul point really early into the game, and it's gonna force UniQ to kind of contest that fourth one, and I really hope that they can kind of set up some sort of crossbar play, considering that now they're dropping the Drake for free, and it's just super hard for UniQ. They feel like you talked about how they've been so composed, right? Even in the games that they were not ahead. I feel like at this one they look kind of lost, and the lead is just way too big for Monster Rugby Gaming.
A team that was supposed to be on second place, a team that was supposed to be feared as well, but Monster Rugby Gaming getting more knowledge, getting more practice as well with this new roster, and it seems they have what it takes to put to shame one of the best teams in Division 2, one of the teams that was looking straight up into relegations. And I think as they look now into Monster Rugby Gaming, trying to get their spot, things are going to be quite different. Skewer is going to go into the side lane, try to push, as well as Harbo is doing on the top side. He does have access to teleport, so if he's required on any part of the map, either of those can just rotate as they see fit. Another turret goes down, the map opens up, and I like to ask you, Test, if they open this map too much, is there a way that UniQ just may lose because of macro?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, right? It feels like they're already kind of doing that. I mean, Monster Rugby Gaming have prior in like almost every single lane. And you saw there that News is kind of trying to cover 1v3 when Skewer is like pushing bot lane and they don't manage to do anything about it. Skewer just gets the tower regardless. I think for sure this is just getting almost out of hand for UniQ. The one kind of saving grace is that 30 CS lead on the Jinx, and the Holmberg is being untouched in this game so far. And I think if they can... That's the thing about this comp as well. You can never really count them out. I think with the way that this game is going, I think Monster Rugby Gaming should be able to close it out. But we have seen time and time again, people are playing these comps where maybe you're not supposed to win the team fights, and then UniQ and other teams that have just been scaling, they get one fight, good fight, and then they just win the game after that. So I mean, you can't really count UniQ out on this one.
This game is still too soon to find out if it's going to belong to Monster Rugby Gaming or not, as we're about to jump into the last dragon of the game. If Monster Rugby Gaming are going to take this one, this could be a soul, an ocean soul, and then it's going to be the other flip, as we've debated before. As things are right now, M-Test, how do you see UniQ coming back?
I think it just has to be this Drake that is coming up. I think right now they are 4k down. It's looking really rough for them. But if they keep doing like this, they just drop the Drake, right? Let's say they do that in 2.5 minutes, then it's gonna be even harder for them, right? And as I say that, Holmberg actually gets caught in the mid. Shakal has so much damage on this Viego, man. And yeah, it just has to be on this Drake, honestly. If they can deny this soul, they can kind of get 5 minutes where they can kind of scale for free. And if Holmberg can get 2 items, 2.5 rather, then they can for sure just kind of win the team fights. But has to be in the 2-minute mark now when the 4th Drake is coming up.
It's going to be the engage of the stolen ultimate. It is going to be Volibear running away, pushed and dragged on the floor. As Shakal is unstoppable. Nilius is trying to fight back as the Super Mega Death Rocket is going to connect with an enemy. It's going to be the Orn with a knockup as Rottenberg goes into the front line, but collapse meanwhile. The Shockwave is perfect. Jinx only needs one reset and she gets it. Gets the double, looking for the triple as the Heartbreak is going to be used. As his heart is broken as well. Skewer didn't teleport to the top side, and it was a 4v5. And in the end, it's going to be UniQ with the lead.
Oof, I mean, yeah, good pick up there from UniQ. While, I mean, Skewer is gonna get so much gold from that tier 2 tower, but Holmberg gets the gold that he wants. He gets 2 kills out of that fight, and this is what I talked about. This is kind of the saving grace. Now he has 2 items already on the Jinx, even though his team is so far behind. And this kind of spells that they can actually try to make a comeback on this Drake that is coming up. We see now Revelius as well, facing, and it's already only 1 minute to the Drake. UniQ is gonna have tempo on this one. If they can get some sort of vision on the side of the river, this could be the comeback story that we always see from UniQ, man.
And it's a spammable Orianna as well. Looking to the Leanders, the Archangel as well. Seraphine's Embrace now as she finally go for some sort of penetration with those Sorcerer Shoes. She needed the damage. She needed the sustained damage. But she's going to be spamming Shockwave after Shockwave. Command Attack, Command Dissonance, and Command Protect as well. We cannot forget about that little ability that is going to provide you with so much as the team fight is going to restart. True Shot Barrage comes right after into the mid lane. Harubu just sneaking away from that death sentence. And now is going to be Rebellious stacking up with this Mystic Shots. And meanwhile, the front line of UniQ is getting shredded away. The Horde comes in, but I believe he has to fall back. He doesn't have Warmogs, so he needs to go back into base as the jungler is now pushed against the wall. He's going to be unstoppable for now, but he's losing too much HP as the dragon is going to respawn. And this is obviously in favor of Munster Rugby Gaming.
I thought UniQ was gonna go for it, man. I thought they were gonna go for the fight and maybe look to make the combat play happen. And they tried, man, but Munster Rugby Gaming, they were just on par with each other. They were all grouped up there. They managed to get 2 items on the Ezra as well, so this guy has been activated. Holmberg almost gets that snipe, but now we see an Ocean Soul on the side of Munster Rugby Gaming, and you just have to imagine now that, I mean, UniQ has to buy that team reduction. It could be worse, right? It could be the Infernal Soul or the Mountain Soul. I think those two are for sure a lot harder to play against. Just looking at the combos on the side of Munster Rugby Gaming as well, you have so much healing already with the Conquer from Ezreal, you have the Conquer from Silas and the W as well. They already have so much sustain on their team. Playing against this Ocean Soul, it's not gonna be easy, man, for the side of UniQ.
It's not gonna be easy, and the only sword or the source of anti-heal grievous wounds is on the body of the Yorn with that Bramble Fest. He also gets himself the Warden's Mail, so he's trying to protect himself as much as he can, but he's a little bit behind versus his opponent's Skewer that already has the Trinity, the Black Cleaver, and now is looking for more tankiness with the stopwatch as well. This means that hero play is incoming. Thank you so much, production, for showcasing this. Look at the gold difference. That is 4,000 gold in tests.
It's almost literally their whole gold lead. I mean, this Nara has been playing super well. I just have to say once again that Neos, you kind of disrespected, man. You picked the Ornn into the Nara, and you've been getting completely gapped in this one. I just have to say, I mean, I know this guy has been playing super well, consistent in this so far into the split. He's not scared to play the carries. He really likes them, but also not scared to just go for the tank and be the kind of frontline that the team needs. And yeah, Skewer has just been popping off, man. He's pressuring so much on this bot side. And I just have to say, this game feels like it's kind of Skewer versus Holmberg. I think if Holmberg can play this pilot this champion really well, it's kind of hard for Munster Rugby Gaming to get a catch on him in these fights. But it's also that, like, UniQ has to be able to force these fights. And Munster Rugby Gaming, they have so much mobility.
And look at him on the bot side by himself, just pushing away. And even though he loses a lot of HP, this is going to be the Ocean Drake providing all that sustain right back at him. Shakal is going to lose an ultimate, and that means the Reset City is going to be a little bit harder to execute because he needs a soul now to start the combo. Skewer gets himself almost the Mega Knot teleport available, which means they can try and force up that play on the Baron side. That would be a good way to seal the deal, to put the last nail on the coffin as they try to tie up in the standings versus UniQ. 5-2 versus 4-3. If they get themselves this lead, they jump from 5th place into 3rd place out of a sudden on the standings. It's really early into the season. I know we're almost at half part of the season, so every single victory is going to count a lot. Look at this, Rebellious pushing himself into the middle of the map, trying to sneak this one away. Shefty is aware. He looks into the vision. He takes a look into the Baron. It's getting way too low. They know this, and Munster Rugby Gaming are going to control this objective, M-Test.
Yeah, I mean, that just looks super clean from Munster Rugby Gaming. They had such good setup. They had vision pretty much everywhere on the side of UniQ in the jungle. And UniQ, they kind of just based. I feel like they didn't really know what was going on until it was already a little bit too late. And I mean, once again, as you mentioned, this game is super crucial for both teams. If UniQ somehow can come back into this one, they could be at the end of the day looking at themselves sitting alone on that 2nd place. But Munster Rugby Gaming can also jump up 3rd and kind of even a lot of teams out. And this is what you want, right? This could also be such a huge momentum boost from Munster Rugby Gaming. And now, when you have Nash, you have Ocean Soul as well. I was thinking, Holmberg, you really need to kind of, you need to like take a loan or something from the bank and get that Infinity Edge ASAP, because if you don't, it's gonna be impossible for you to win the team fight.
You have to convince of the shopkeeper that he needs an Infinity Edge right now, and you can pay him back on the future. That's what it's called, future market.
Oh, I actually
have it, so I don't know. 2 kills, 1 assist. Can we get to look into the gold of Jinx so I understand? It's still far. He has enough gold for the pickaxe right now. He only needs 1 more minion. But after that, you still need to buy the recipes, so it's not going to be easy. Meanwhile, they're knocking at the Heaven's door, and it's Heaven for one team, it's Hell for the other one, and Hell for UniQ. They're trying and struggling to keep themselves afloat on this game. 26 minutes in, sole provider for Munster Rugby Gaming. It's the ocean. What else do you want while you're pushing? You have the sustain, you have the minions. Look at those siege minions just pushing on the top side. Really difficult to try and slow this one down, as Shakal is going to help this one. Orn already at half HP, but there's no soul for him. It means that he has to go back into the base, walking.
Yeah, and this is the only thing that I can give kind of flack on from Munster Rugby game, right? When you're playing this side lane pressure, you wanna for sure be able to match and sync up your waves. I think if both mid and top wave hit at the same time, probably they can open both towers immediately. But you know, they still are gonna have a lot of that Nash left, so maybe on this next wave they can kind of open that. But just look at this, right? UniQ, they're trying to get something going, but they already know that if they try to fight right now, they're not winning it. Even though they have the Ornn ulti, they have Shefty with the flash on the Volibear, with the Eden on the Ariana combo, right? It's not enough right now. Harbo also is picking up that Ornn ulti himself, but we're gonna go for it. They're not done with this.
It's going to be probably the last engage unless they're capable of turning this around. It's going to be the Jinx. Holmberg with the first kill. Shafty's trying to get the second one. Skewer pops himself the stopwatch. We talked about this before, and Harbo flashes into the backline. Tries to get himself a kill. There's not enough damage, and Chicago's the shutdown comes in clean for Holmberg. We talked about the Jinx late game, and it's in full effect. The Infinity Edge no longer needs to be borrowed. It's going to be owned by Jinx. And this means that the Elder is going to be for the team that has no dragon whatsoever.
Oh my god, what is happening? Rebellious! Oh my, he's going for the play!
That's where the hero play might get the support as well. Teleports in, he's going to die in the process, but it's going to be a hero play because this means that both carries, Eden and Holmberg, will have access to the Elder Dragon.
Man, I talked about this guy, man. He's just so alpha. He's not scared to flash in and just get that play going. If he doesn't do anything there, then for sure UniQ gets that Elder and they get that comeback that they dreamed of. I mean, they get that fight going so well for them, and this is spells that what we talked about. UniQ, you can never count them out. But now the game is just nothing happening from there. They get that fight going. I mean, Holmberg in this fight is exactly what we talked about, right? He manages to get that IE, and this is just where UniQ know they have to go for it. Even though the fight does not look perfect for them, I mean, they get the reset instantly from Holmberg onto the Kai. And after that, I feel like it's super hard for Munster Rugby Gaming to fight in this choke of UniQ when they have that front line going for them. Harbo tries to go for the hero play, and it looked really good, man. But Holmberg, that still had flash up, gets the reset onto the Gnar as well, gets the shutdown, and then he's just kiting all day for Holmberg. Gets a triple kill, he gets so much gold, man. And I mean, this fight, this game is just crazy. What is going on? The Elden is starting as well.
Oh, the Drake is upon us, so the coin flip is in full effect. 8-12. It was supposed to be such an easy close for Munster Rugby Gaming, but it seems unique. How unique on what they do. True Shot Barrage comes clean. It's a 5-member connect, and everybody's fighting way too close, which means the shockwave is going to be amazing. One reset is going to be enough as Shafty goes down. So there's no steal available. There's no smite available. Harbo is trying to buy enough time, but look at this. The Elder is still way too healthy right now. They cannot fight this one. They get the scuttle as well. So they have the vision. They have the movement speed as well. They're going to let this one slide because look at this. Teleport from the Gnar. Skewer is there. They just need to slow this one down. Either they reply or they lose the game. Look at Neus. Orn has put himself with the smite. He's looking for the hero play to try and steal the Elder. But if they're not fast enough, it means by the end of this fight, there won't be a base to defend as Rebellious is there. Eden finally replies to this one. But Skewer is way too tanky, way too powerful, way too strong. He uses the Elder. He doesn't even land the smash, but he smashes the Nexus to end the game.
What a banger we got at the end of it. I mean, it looked like Monster Rugby Gaming was so dominant in the whole game, and then we got that one fight that we talked about where Unique can get that comeback. But it was not enough. Monster Rugby Gaming, they kept their composure, Skewer TPs into the base, and I mean, all that Monster Rugby Gaming has to do is just stop the bases, right? That's all that they care about. They get the Nexus, they get the dub. This is why I love this division, man. It's so fun.
Not only that, this is why I love this patch as well. You get to these sort of gameplays. It's not only, oh, it's a 25-1, we're done. No, it allows teams to try and get something out of it, even though you're behind. And it was a beautiful game from both teams. So we're going to toss it into a quick break before we jump into the interviews to understand more about what happened in this one. I'll see you soon.